Dr. Martin Moore Eddy is a physiology professor at Harvard Medical School, and he happens to be an expert on the body's circadian rhythms. And in a very interesting book entitled The 24-Hour Society, he tells us something quite intriguing. He talks about our most recent industrial accidents: Exxon Valdez, the 3 Mile Island, Chernobyl, the fatal navigational error of the Korean Airlines 007. He tells us that they all occurred in the middle of the night, when the USS Vincennes shot down that Iranian Airbus and killed 299 people. The fatigue-stressed operators in the high-tech combat information center on that carrier misinterpreted the radar data, and they repeatedly told their captain that there was a jet descending as if to attack, when in fact the airliner remained on a normal flight path. He also tells us that the Challenger space shuttle disaster, that key officials at NASA made the ill-fated decision to go ahead with the launch after working 24 hours straight and getting only 2 hours of sleep the night before. Their error in judgment cost the lives of 7 astronauts and nearly killed the U.S. space program. Dr. Moore makes the point, then, that our contemporary technological society collides with our physiology that we have developed over eons, ill-adapting us physically to deal with the demands of jobs that require us to be alert at 4 in the morning. He shows how employees in the airline business, the medical profession, nuclear power, trucking, railroad industries, for example, suffer disastrous accidents because their circadian cycles have been disrupted. And what's the point? The point is that we ignore our need for rest and renewal at the peril of ourselves and the peril of our brothers and sisters, our neighbors. Well, here we are at the beginning of the summer season. It just began officially the 21st. Wednesday is the 4th of July, caught between 2 weekends. It's a good reminder to all of us of our need for Sabbath rest. Now, we know that Sunday is supposed to be a day of rest, but unfortunately it has become just like any other day for most people. And it has become this at a great cost to all of us. A photographer was snapping pictures of first graders at an elementary school, and in order to ease their tensions, he was making small talk with them. So he said to this one little girl, "What are you going to be when you grow up?" And her answer was, "Tired." Isn't that the mantra that so many of us use today? I'm so tired all the time. Well, perhaps some of our lifestyles are killing us. We live by that philosophy that we can have it all, that we can work harder, we can play harder, and we can multitask our way to squeezing 31 hours of activity into a 24-hour day. And that basically is the finding of a study that's been conducted by the American Management Association. The study concluded that people can add almost 50% more activity to a typical day of 16 waking hours. Similarly, the U.S. Labor Department figures the average yearly increase in United States workers' productivity has doubled from 1.5% between 87 and 96 to 3% between 97 and 2006. But what is the price that we're paying? Through technology, People are accomplishing more in less time, but feeling overwhelmed by the multiplicity of their lives. The CEO of the American Medical Association says, "There's a sense of fatigue that comes from multitasking. You can force yourself to keep doing things, but you may not be as effective." Well, in Mark's gospel, we read of one great healing that he's done. If we read the longer version, there's actually 2 healings. And of course, throughout the gospel, Jesus primarily is seen as a healer. So I wonder if Jesus was with us today, I wonder what kind of healings he would perform for us. We would certainly want him to heal us of our physical maladies, but I wonder if he might not look around at us and sense that an even deeper kind of healing is needed. Perhaps he might look at our chaotic lifestyles and desire to heal us of this 24/7 living. Maybe his healing would be one of slowing us down and telling us that it's time to rest. A few weeks ago, the Boston Globe told us that Aaron DeVoe, an 18-year-old, was convicted of motor vehicle homicide because he was texting, the first driver in Massachusetts to face such charges. Prosecutors said that DeVoe, who pleaded not guilty of texting on February 20th of 2011 when his vehicle swerved across the center line of a Haverhill, Massachusetts street and crashed head into Daniel Bowie's truck, killing the 55-year-old husband and wife, father of 3 children. The consequences of our multitasking. As wonderful as our technology is, it has consequences. And the chaos of our lives can create tragedy for us. It can also destroy our relationship with God. If we never stop, if we're never silent, if we're always multitasking, then we miss out on the whisperings of God. Because God is always whispering to us. It's just that we don't always hear because of the noise and the hurry and the distraction which life causes as it rushes on. I heard one psychologist friend of mine describe our being bombarded by weapons of mass destruction. The weapons of mass destruction he refers to are the ringing of our cell phones, our emails, your kids' soccer games, your multitudinous business trips, the 500 television stations that we have, and the dozens and dozens of text messages that go around every single day. And on top of that, we're simply trying to take care of all the basics of life. And so often, we find ourselves just skimming the surface of our lives, zipping from one thing to another, and so much of the time feeling stressed and depleted and overwhelmed. Just think for a moment of how often our fatigue has caused us to say things to one another that we so quickly regret. Fatigue can cause such anger and frustration in family life and married life. It enters the office on Monday mornings and the parking lots after Sunday Mass. When we're tired and we don't think straight, we're simply not the best that we can be. We see throughout the scriptures that Jesus went off by himself to be renewed, that he often used the desert to find himself again. We all need this time in our lives also. So if Jesus walked among us today, he would certainly see all of our physical maladies that would need healing. But I think he would also look at how overwhelmed we can be, how fatigued, how exhausted. And I believe that he would want to heal us of the chaos of our lives. So as we look forward to July 4th, this coming Wednesday, Let it be a reminder to us of our need for renewal. Let us enjoy the summer months, the warmth of the sun, and in some way try to slow our lives down. Listen more to God, listen more to ourselves and to one another. There may have not been weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, but those weapons are all around us today. That little girl was asked what she wanted to be when she grew up, and she said, tired. Aren't we all tired of being tired?